What happened to you, Grandma, about 20 years ago?
About 20 years ago, I had been very ill and been to visit several doctors, and they finally discovered that I had a brain tumor, and I was flown flight to light to Minnesota, and they successfully removed the tumor, but it left my face paralyzed.
Because of nerve.
Well, Grandpa, how did you trust God during Grandma's brain tumor during that time?
Well, I guess I didn't have any other choice. I wanted to trust God because we've been Christians for a long time and we knew that God would take care of us. But I had 6 kids at the time, and I didn't want to raise those kids by myself. That wouldn't be good for me. But we had to trust God in those times because I didn't want my wife to die. And the first surgery was like 11 or 12 hours long. And so I sat in the waiting room in Minnesota all by myself and was just very afraid of what might happen. But I was just looking forward to God just taking care of her.
So, Grandma, how has your life changed during the tumor and after?
I would say my life totally changed. I had to learn to walk again. I have greatly decreased vision, and so I do not drive. Basically, everything that I do is a struggle. I have to purposely determine to do it. And so it was a great change. Things that came so easy for me before became challenges. And so it was a choice, I think, of just pulling the covers over your head and just curling up and trying to disappear, or face what I needed to face, and in the best way that I could. And I think a lot had to do with my Christian upbringing, had to do with the fact that I come to know the Lord, and I was taught about His greatness and His goodness, and I trusted Him to know or to have it all under control, and trusted Him to have a purpose in it all.
The things that have changed a lot is just her ability to do things that she would have normally did before. Like I said before, she's a lot like your mother is. She was a lot like your mother is today. She enjoyed taking kids to ball games and doing things and going shopping and loading up the van full of whatever kids and whatever and going places. But now, whatever she does, she has to have it be taken by someone, and they have to take her shopping or to Joann's, like she likes to shop for material or whatever. But she tries to do everything that she can on her own as much as possible. And the thing that we always think about is just God doesn't require her to do any more than what she has the ability to do. God has given her lots of abilities, and she's good in lots of areas, but there's just a few things that she just can't do anymore by herself.
Were there some friends that were, really sick by you during that time?
I think a lot of her friends, our friends at the time, were more afraid that she was going to die, and that she had changed so much that on the outside appearance and everything, that they were afraid that they didn't know how to help her or what to do. The people that really knew Grandma realized that even though she looked different on the outside, she was exactly the same on the inside. That she was, there was still, Grandma's still in there, Edie's still in there, and they just knew that she hadn't changed a bit. She's changed in appearance, but she's changed on the outside a little bit. And so that, I think that's what really made the difference. When people weren't afraid of her, they just said, hey, that's still Edie, and they still loved her and helped her. There were a few of them that just kind of got afraid of us because they didn't know what to do to help.
I think that I had usually been the one to jump in and be help and do what was needed, and we did a lot of things that, I put all the school kids and the girls in the car, and we'd go to Rapid and shop through material, and we just did a lot of different things. When I could no longer do that, I think it was kind of, they were used to me filling that role, that position, and I could no longer do that. I think they didn't quite know what to do. Was it temporary? Was it permanent? A lot of times people do not know how to deal with a catastrophic illness like I went through.
I think Grandma is very open to talk to anybody about what happened to her. In fact, I think we've talked about her writing a book about all of our stories that we have, because she's had about a dozen surgeries since then to try to fix things, Most people, if they come up and ask her and talk to her, she'll be glad to tell them about the brain tumor, all the different things that the doctor's done over the years, different surgeries. And
it didn't help.
Didn't help. And I think the biggest thing is how God sustained us through it all. God was good and helped us and provided finances, provided friends to come, provided employment, whatever, for us, and just to keep going. So God was always good to us.
Was there a Bible verse that encouraged you and spoke to you during that time?
I think that there was a song that was written by a kid I went to college with, and it was based on 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. And God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of a sound mind. And we really clung to that. I did, particularly because knowing that they were going to do surgery on my brain, I wanted to know that when it was all said and done, that I still had a sound mind. And so I really we quoted that scripture and that song, we had it running a lot. And I am thankful because when it was all done with, I could recall things that in my life, when I got married, when my kids were born, and all the things that had happened. God preserved my mind and my ability to remember.
I think the scriptures, we've talked about that scripture many, many times, so it's probably the most prominent one. And my hope over the whole time was that Grandma would be normal, and that it wouldn't affect her mind, and that she would be able to, just the little things, like she was able to learn to walk again, or she used to be right-handed and she had to learn to write left-handed because her right hand wouldn't work anymore. And she's had several eye surgeries, and so all of those things are still working, and we're thankful for it. So she has a sound mind. She remembers everything, and that's been really good verse for us.
Grandma, what would you tell someone who's going through a difficult time?
I would say to be encouraged, because your life is not defined by what you're going through right now. God has a bigger purpose, and even if it's we'll see that take place in eternity, He still has something in mind, and He sees what's happening, and He is allowing it for our good and His glory. So something good is going to come out of it. God, it's a win-win proposition when you follow the Lord. You can be assured that anything you face, that God is walking through it with you, and He has a plan.
Grandma, what would you tell someone who had a spouse going through that time, from your perspective?
Get rid of them. Oh, I think I'm just teasing. The thing that I would tell them is that it actually's been, if there's any good that comes out of it, is that Grandma and I have become much closer, and we have, Grandma is my best friend, and we talk about things and we do things together. So all of those things are enjoyable to us, and we enjoy that very much. And God has never left Grandma and always been there, but God will bless the person that helps and is there to encourage another person. So God hasn't left us at all. He's still there, and given us a real peace about everything, and I think it's just the best thing is just to be friends and stay together, work through it.
Well, thank you for sharing this with us. It was fun.
Well, we enjoyed it. I just wanted to tell you that you are one of my favorite 12 and a half grandkids. We love you very much.